Hello, I'm David Barlow. I'm a Hawaii auto accident injury lawyer. Today we're going to talk about moped accidents. So mopeds in Hawaii, it's an interesting topic for guys like me because when the law applies to mopeds, it's kind of interesting because mopeds aren't really a bicycle and they're not really a motorcycle. They're kind of in this middle area. So there's a lot of interesting laws that apply to mopeds. So first, let's talk about how you're supposed to be driving mopeds out there, because it really matters when you're in an accident. When you're injured in an accident on a moped, you want to be following the laws of how you're supposed to be riding that moped. Because if you're not, then that makes the case a lot more complicated and could possibly even result in you not getting a settlement. Let's talk about what is a moped. Obviously, we all know what they look like, but under the law, the motor is 50 cc's or less, or 2 horsepower, then it is considered a moped, right? Even though it looks like a moped, if you put a bigger engine in there or you manipulate it some way to make it more than 50 cc's or more than 2 horsepower, then it's considered a motorcycle and totally different laws apply. All right, so you gotta know if you got a moped or not. So that's the first thing we look at, is how big the engine is. Next thing, can it go more than 30 miles an hour on a flat surface? If it can, then it's not considered a moped under the law. So it needs to go 30 miles an hour or less, max speed, going on a flat surface. Those are the things that insurance companies look at to determine whether it's a moped or not. How you drive the moped. Mopeds are supposed to be on the farthest right lane in the farthest part of that lane. So mopeds, as we said, they're not supposed to go more than 30 miles an hour. So of course there's safety issues with going all over the place in the fast lane, in the middle lane, but there's also just general traffic issues. If you can't go more than 30, you shouldn't be in the fast lane, right? Also, you cannot go on the freeway. Why would you go on the freeway? Because the minimum is what, 40, 45. You're not supposed to go more than 30. So in other words, you can't go on the freeway on a moped. If there is a bike lane on that street, you're supposed to use the bike lane. Most people don't realize that. Like I said, mopeds are between bikes and motorcycles. Motorcycle, of course, can't be in the bike lane, but a moped is supposed to be in the bike lane. That's where you're supposed to be. So don't let a biker tell you, hey, what are you doing here? Get out of the way. Be like, hey, no, this is my lane. I'm supposed to be in this lane. It should be called really the moped/bike lane, because mopeds are supposed to be in that bike lane. So you're supposed to be on that farthest right lane. Obviously, if you do gotta turn left and cross a couple of lanes, you gotta do what you gotta do. But just cruising along, you're supposed to be in that farthest right lane. So it's important to be where you're supposed to be, because when you are injured, insurance adjusters are gonna give us a lot of trouble if you were on the freeway or in that fast lane. So that's the first rule. Let's back up. Hawaii, like they say, is a no-fault state. Now, we have other videos and web pages that talk all about the no-fault laws. Just briefly, when you're in a car accident, the car that you're in pays the first $10,000 in medical bills. That's called no-fault insurance. On this video, you're on a moped. Mopeds aren't required to have insurance, so the car that hit you, they pay that $10,000 in medical bills. Regardless, it's called no-fault insurance because it doesn't matter whose fault it is. It could be 100% your fault on a moped. They still have to pay $10,000 of your medical bills. Now, that's the same for bicycles and pedestrians. If you're on a bicycle or you're a pedestrian, no matter whose fault it is, they're paying $10,000 of your medical bills. Now, of course, if it's their fault, you're getting a lot more than that $10,000 of bills paid, okay? They're paying everything. They're paying all your medical bills, no matter how much your bills are. They're paying your pain and suffering. They're paying future bills. They're paying wage loss. So don't think that they're getting off just paying $10,000 of your medical bills. A lot of people, that's what they think Hawaii is, a no-fault state. So they only pay my $10,000 in bills and that's it. So don't think that. But know when you're in a moped accident, hit by another car, your fault or not, just go get the treatment you need. You do have $10,000 in medical bills. That's the interesting about moped law in Hawaii. Like I said, it's between bike and motorcycle. If you're on a motorcycle, you better have your own insurance. If you don't have that $10,000 in coverage. Trying to think what else. I guess that's about it. Any other questions about moped accidents in Hawaii, just give us a call. We'll be happy to explain it, help you out, get you the compensation you deserve for your moped accident injuries. All right, take care.